Hey guys, today we're going to go over the new Black Gold Pro site and the appropriate way to set up a first, second, and third access on this site. It will hold true for most sites that you look at. They all have a little bit of different adjustments in how you would set them up, but for today's purposes we're going to use the new 3-pin Pro site from Black Gold. There are a couple things that you're going to need. Third access Hamskea tool will help you set your third access correctly if you're not going to shoot in your third access, which we will cover in shooting in your axes and how to adjust those at a later date, but today we're going to do the tool method. So your third access Hamskea tool with the alignment pin. You also need some kind of a level for setting your strings. If you don't have a vise like this vise right here, you're going to need a door jamb or 4-foot level or something to try to hold your bow square up against something level to get your first, second, and third axes set. So for starters, we're going to use our two-way level here and set this bow in a position where these two levels are equal and square. Yeah, it's pretty close. This is an OMP Versa cradle. It's very, very nice and convenient for getting things set. So now that we have our string set, so we know this bow is sitting in a level position. We know the string is square on both angles. Probably bump that just a tiny bit. I'm not quite perfect. Okay, so now the first thing you want to set is your sight rail. So your sight rail is the part of your sight that moves up and down, and what that means is as you move this guy up and down on your movable portion, you need this plane to match this plane. So in order to set that, you take your Hamskea level, or any bolt-on level will work. There's several of them out there, but the Hamskea one's probably the most common. Back it out and tighten it down on the upper rail system. Oh, not quite there. Let's try it over here. There you go. Okay, so now we're bolted onto that rail. And if you look at your bubble here and your bubble there, they're actually even. So we don't have to adjust this, but I am going to show you how this adjusts if you choose to. Okay, changed angle so you can see some stuff. So our axis levels are level here on this guy, but to show you how it moves, you loosen this screw here, you loosen this screw here, and there's another little guy in the side right here that actually micro drives your windage. Very unique system from Black Gold that most others don't have. This is what I call a rail micro adjust, and it allows you to finitely move the sight back and forth. If you tighten those back down, now we're a little out of level because I deliberately moved it out, and I can move it right back. A fine adjustment. Once again, when we're talking about the right way to shoot in your third axis, second axis, and first axis, this will come into more play when we make our more elaborate video with the shootable axis system. But for tools wise, it's really finite, really micro, really easy to get it exact. So now our bubbles are boom, 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 perfect. So when you loosen this screw and this screw, it basically lets it move because those are what locks it down, and then that little guy right there micro drives. So as you turn that in, it's pushing it over, turn it out, it's pushing it back. Tighten those back down, and that's how you micro adjust or make small finite adjustments with that allows you to really precisely set the level here, as opposed to where it's loose and sloppy like most of them are. Just about every one you're going to find has 2 screws on it like this when it has a rail, and they're just limp. They just move all over the place, and you kind of got to hold it and try to tighten it down and get it snug. This, you can loosen it and it'll actually kind of stay put, making finite adjustments to make it really accurate. Okay, we flipped everything back around so you can get a better view of this, but once you've got your first axis set, you don't actually need this guy bolted on here anymore. You can go back to using this for your levels. Now you'll see that's a little bit off there, so we need to loosen that screw and turn it to where it reads level again. So this is your second axis. Just about every site out there will have some kind of a level adjustment. This is just how Black Gold's works. You go that way. And this is unfortunately just a coarse adjustment, but a lot of this stuff you set it once and you don't typically touch it again. Alright, so now we're reading right in between the bubbles to where it all looks good. Tighten those screws back down. They don't need a lot because it is just plastic on that ring, so you don't need a reef on it. So now we've got our first and our second axes set. Third axis is a little more elaborate with the Hamskea tool, but we'll go over it with you. to show you how it works. Okay, so for your third axis, you don't actually pay any attention to the level on your Hamskea. We've got it bolted onto the riser here, and we're actually using the pins to get a vertical line pointed downhill. We're going to use this edge right here, which we've checked before is level and square, so we're going to use this to line up at draw the top pin and the bottom pin on that line, and then see what our bubble looks like when we're pointed downhill. Okay, so point of reference, this is our square line. We've actually put a 4-foot level on this and checked, and this line is vertical. You can do this at home by using like a line and a plumb bob. You just need a vertical line. You can use a 4-foot level, 6-foot level, draw a line on a piece of paper and hang it on a target. It doesn't matter, but you have to have a vertical line to line the tip of that pin and the tip of that pin up with. Now, in order to adjust that, you have to loosen this lock screw on this side, and then twist this screw in or out to change it. And that's what's going to drive the sight this direction or that direction to effectively set your third axis. You're not supposed to move this more than a half of a turn in or a half of a turn out. So if you're going farther than that, there's something wrong, and you need to actually check with your bow and see if there's something wrong with your bow. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this back. See it, the bubble's buried all the way to the right. So we're going to need to make a twist on the sight itself to change that. So we're going to go back here. Bubble's right. Okay, and do it again. See what we come up with. Pretty darn close. This leveling tool actually takes into account your hand grip too, so when you're doing this, make sure that you're paying attention to how you're holding your bow and you're holding it right for yourself. And now that I'm steady and the camera's not in the way, I can see that that bubble's just about perfect. So we'll go there, and then we'll come back and tighten that little screw back down again, because this is the lock screw for the third axis system. And there is a more accurate way to set this by shooting it. Okay, but we'll cover that in another one. But that is how you use Hamskea Archery Solutions third axis leveling tool, and how you would set up your pro sight from Black Gold to effectively set your first, second, and third axis.